Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Bestech Barracuda. Pretty new model from Bestech, one of their D2, G10 ceramic ball bearing $52 knives. They make a few of them. We're actually going to compare this to one of them at the end of this video. So if you want to see that, I didn't do a full-on battle to the death because they're both made in the same factory. Fairly exactly the same price, fairly similar purpose. It was just going to wind up with a whole lot of ties. So we're just going to do a quick little comparison at the end, but if you want to see it compared to the Bestech Paladin at the end, then keep on watching, or skip ahead if you're one of those people who does that, like a weirdo, then you can do that. And then you'll see a little bit of a comparison there. But first of all, let's do some stats before we can do much further. As I said, 52 bucks, 8¼ inch overall length, blade length of 3.5 inches, blade thickness about you're going to see it in lots of places say 0.12. That's not what I measured it at, and it's not what I measured the Paladin at either. So I think it's pretty close to 0.136, 1.35, something like that. A little bit thicker than that, but still fairly thin blade stock. Handle thickness is dead on 1/2 inch and a weight of 4.7 ounces. So pretty good EDC weight. Do some size comparisons here. We'll do our usual, your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Very, very similar overall to that. Use your Ontario Rat Model 1. And what else do we want to use here? We're going to use another knife in this same kind of size and price category. This is a VV Backlash. Just a smidge bigger than that. Okay, let's get going with this. First up, the overall look of this, I kind of like it. It's fairly stylized, but not insanely so. I don't know exactly how to describe that. It's conservatively futuristic, I guess, is the words I would use to describe it. Wharncliffe blade, I really like Wharncliffes. I always think they look cool. You have these nice striations on the handle. Well, nice in that they look cool. I'm not as big a fan of them in the carry, but we'll get to that as it goes on. Nice deep carry pocket clip. Quality looks good and all that stuff. But I like this really cool flipper tab they use. It's kind of hollowed out flipper. I think it's pretty neat. And it works fine. It is light switch only, but it works great. And it definitely does help in the carry, which again we will talk about later. Nice G10 backspacer. And the quality on it it's Bestech. Man, I can't remember the last time I had a truly bad Bestech. I don't think I ever have. I think I've had really good ones. And you can see the centering, dead on. Lockup is excellent. No lock rock, no blade play, none of that stuff. Very, very, very good. Bestech's hardware isn't outstanding, but it's perfectly fine for the price. It's just nothing that blows you away. It's like the CV hardware is something you mentioned that, oh, that's amazing. This is just kind of what you'd expect for that price, so it's fine. But I have no issues with the quality of this at all. I think it's a very good quality knife for 52 bucks. Bestech does a job here. Ceramic ball bearings and a ceramic detent. It's pretty good for this money. Next up, the blade. As I said, I do really like Wharncliffes. You might not. This one for a Warnie has a pretty good little tip on there. It's not super skinny. Trying to get it in the spot on my hand where it shows. Yeah, it's not a pry bar, and no knife should be, but it's pretty good. It is actually pretty darn good for a Warnie. A lot of Warnies come down to really, really super fine tips, which this does, but it thickens up really quickly, which I like that a lot. Not horribly thick blade stock, and it's about 20? I'm gonna measure it again because I have memory of a goldfish. Let's say it was about 20 thousandths behind the edge, 19.5, 20 thousandths behind the edge. Not bad at all. And with that high of a flat grind, it slices pretty good. It slices damn good, actually. And they do a great job with their sharpening out of the box. No issues at all with the sliciness of this knife. Very, very good. Ergonomically, not bad. As I said, I'm not in love with these little striations here. Whatever, these milling lines. They don't really do much as far as adding grip. I guess they add grip for if it's twisting, But as far as your forward and back grip, which is what my real concern usually is, they follow the line of your hands, so they don't do much, and you can feel them. They're not uncomfortable, but you can feel them. That's just me being weird. That might not bother anybody else at all. I do get a little bit of a hot spot from the clip right here at the back. I can definitely feel that clip. You can choke up, but this is very, very, very thin. It's not a comfortable place to choke up, and it's not enough of a finger choil that it's going to stop you from moving forward. Wouldn't recommend it unless you're doing really detailed stuff, which I guess in a Warney you might be. They are really good blade shapes for that. So, yeah, it's kind of an emergency finger choil, I guess I would call it. Which leads me to my only other. I did debate on whether to put this ergonomics or blade or whatever, but we're going to say it here because I didn't say it in the blade. My only other issue with this is it's kind of a non-committal finger choil, I guess is what I'm going to call it. And all it really does in most use is just make that blade much farther away than I would like it to be. So that's not awesome. I'm not happy about that. But with this really small flipper tab, it does still work okay for like food preppy type stuff. But I'd rather have more usable blade edge and just not have that finger choil, or change the plunge grind a bit so that it's a little thicker for at least half of it, so it's a bit more useful. One or the other. But it's not an ergonomic mess. It is comfortable in the hand for sure, but it's just not my favorite, I guess. Now, next up, as far as the carry goes, it does carry extremely well. Nice deep carry clip, as I said. This nice little kind of minimalist flipper tab, which works extremely well. We'll slide it in ye old Wranglers here. Yeah, and you can get your hand just completely right by there. I'll flip these up. Why have I never done this before? I've had these I'm using these jeans forever. I've never actually just stuck my hand in the pocket on camera. What an idiot. But anyway, yeah, totally fine. You don't feel anything in there. You barely notice that flipper tab is there. So that's very, very nice. God, I'm a moron though sometimes. As far as deployment goes, it's a Bestech. They deploy supremely well. Even these $52 ones, I said, it's still all ceramic stuff. This has not been taken apart. Is one of the ones from the Apex Pass-Around group. Thank you guys. But it doesn't need to be. It works awesome. It's just, the deployment is great. It's super smooth. Not quite drop shutty, but it's damn close to it. It's for $52. It's great. So where does that leave us? I think it's a pretty good knife. I do like the Wharncliffe blade shape, and I'm glad to see Bestech doing one in this $52 range. And if I didn't have a Paladin, I would be tempted by it. But let's bring the Paladin in. The Paladin, if you guys are not familiar with this, I did a review this a long time ago. I was loaned one, and I liked it so much I did just go out and buy one with my own money. And I have not been disappointed that I did. It's a really great knife. Very much same configuration. D2 steel, G10, $52, ceramic ball bearing, blah, 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 blah. All the usual Bestech stuff. Much different execution, though. You have a much more kind of traditional blade shape on the Paladin. It's got a bit of an upsweep there, but that's the only dramatic thing it does. Other than that, it's pretty much your traditional, standard kind of drop point blade shape. A little bit of belly, a little bit of flap, a little bit of flap. Very nice sharpening choil. It's same G10, you can tell it's all the same stuff. This is previously when they still used to put font on here. They don't do that anymore, as you can see, which is really nice. I'm hoping the next run of Paladins won't have that on there. I'm also hoping they're going to make another run of these because they were great knives, or are great knives. You can still get them most places. Very, very cool. Same kind of construction, all that stuff. No deep carry clip, so that's kind of a personal preference thing if you like deep carry or not. But as far as the blades, I don't know. I think I slightly prefer this on the Paladin. You're getting more cutting edge. As much as I love Warnies, you're just sacrificing so much cutting edge for not really that much benefit. And in a traditional, this is a reason why this is such a common blade shape as far as the edge goes. It's a reason why so many knife edges look like that, because it freaking works. It's worked for thousands of years, so that's why they look like that. It always annoys me when somebody says, "Oh, that knife looks just like whatever." Yeah, because it's it's been around for thousands of years, and everybody uses it. That's why it looks like that. Ergonomically, I definitely prefer the Paladin. It just fits my hand better. There's none of this funky stuff with the milling. It's just, I like it better. I like the way it looks. Yeah, pocket clip though, and carry wise, absolutely, I definitely prefer the Barracuda. It's just that flipper tab is super cool. This is just kind of your standard old flipper tab, nothing fancy there, but you can light switch it or push button it. You can do either or. So, but this does carry just so much better. This doesn't carry bad at all, but this just carries shockingly well for the size that it is. So, yeah, if I would have done a comparison, it would have been a win for the Paladin. I'm not going to bother to score it all out because it's going to be mostly ties because they're made in the same factories. Quality is exactly the same. Aesthetically, I think it's just personal taste on these. I don't think one really looks dramatically better than the other. This looks a bit more, like I said, futuristic. The Paladin looks a bit more traditional, except for that little upswept blade. So, yeah, it was just going to be personal preference, except for the ergos, I think, are much better on this, and I much prefer this blade. So that's it for this. A little introduction to the Barracuda and a little comparison against its older brother. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.